Well, hello and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel, and if you are getting ready for Q3, Q4 right now, you might be thinking events, and this town is full of them. So if you're trying to use events to connect to your customers, your clients, or even your current community, then this show is for you. We have someone who is so inspiring, one of the most recognizable event producers in town, the co-founder of Be Creative, Mr. Dan Bolton. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for the amazing welcome and introduction. I
Yay!
really appreciate it. Really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
I feel like I should have the show tunes in the background, with the loud music.
Like dancing people. It'll be all good.
The crescendo, coming up as your lights dim, but we are talking about behind the curtain, and it's all about event excellence, which you achieve every day of your life,
Yeah.
And power of the right team is where we're going, because I think there's a great conversation we can have about the team and the people and events and just everything that you are doing that really is a driving factor of the town we live in, Dubai, because so many people come in to this town for events, and the event tourism space is huge. Right?
Huge. And also everything we do with events is people-centric. So people play a key role in every aspect of every single project and production that all of us take part in or attend.
Yeah, God, it just kind of blew my mind, that thought of it's not just people, the customers, but the people that are organizing these events and the ecosystem and the harmony that goes on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. And some of these projects and productions, have about hundreds, thousands of people. You look at, the expos previously, World Cups, whatever, the workforce is a huge. So we're talking a significant amount of people that are always impacted by one singular project.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're going to start with the pains, because I always like to rip it open and talk about things that no one's talking about, because there are a lot of challenges that people run into in this space. It is a logistic nightmare. It is last minute. It could be heart-wrenching, heart attack inducing, You
mentioned pain. I think secretly event professionals love the pain. I don't know why, but we that's what's our driving factor in so many ways.
Yeah, I think there has to be a love with it, right? Because it's the same, no matter what event you do.
It's like a love-hate relationship. I don't know, but the pain is part of what moves us further forward. I think it's a problem solving. We're logical people, we're creative people. We like to find solutions to problems that maybe other people couldn't find a solution to.
Yeah, it's definitely a different muscle in the brain that's being activated, for sure.
The adrenaline, the rush, the high of making things happen is quite intense.
Well, I was, before we got on here, I was mentioning I knew you back already 18 years ago. We've been here in the region for a long time. We've seen lots of things open, huge events being produced, and you've continued to stay here strong and really lay groundwork to keep growing the industry in the region. So I want to start with some of this staffing. You mentioned how many, staff can be either make or break your event, right? Yeah. What has been some of your personal experiences that you've kind of, run into when it comes to staff? Because a lot of them are not full-time.
No. I think, sorry, I was thinking then, so you just mentioned 18 years in events we worked on, we probably hired thousands of people through that period, whether it be performers, MCs, and you're like, wow, that's a significant number. And, what are some of the challenges that we faced along that time? I'm thinking nearly 2 decades. It's a lot. Back in the early days, finding good people was very difficult. There wasn't really the events industry that we have right now. I think, fast forward to where we are today, it's very competitive. There's a lot of things happening. The market's very saturated. There's a very transient nature to everything that happens within the city, not just events. So if I'm completely honest, throughout the entire career, there's always been this struggle of finding the right people for our projects. And when I say the right people, there's cultural differences, there's nuances in terms of skill sets, etc. And because it's so rapid, it's so fast, and things happen so quickly, you don't have the time to cohesively embed things together. So what I found personally on many of our projects, and I mean this respectfully, is there's often tension, friction, miscommunication. There's always things we could always be doing better in terms of how we work together, but we just simply don't have time. I think that's one of the key things, because the deadlines and deliverables are now. So you're running at such a pace, keeping it all together is a significant challenge.
Wow. And that, there's no doubt, there's a momentum within the client communication, right? That needs to be strong so they keep coming back and that they earn your trust and that they're serviced. And then you got the people internally that need to feel like they're heard and seen so that they can do their best job and really shine, right?
Yeah. But for what we do, we specialize in the creative side of it. So a lot of it comes with personality. And let's all face it, creative people are an incredible type of people. You know, there's a way that you engage with them, there's a way you communicate with them, how they understand information, how they respond to certain things. So what I've always found is like over the last 20 years is just really trying to understand the balancing act between all of that to keep the momentum moving, whilst also delivering what the client wants, whilst also keeping a professional yet also personal relationship, I guess, because events is all about people, it's relationships, it's who you know, not necessarily what you know, and how to manage all of those pieces is a complex puzzle.
Well, how did like getting the right people, like not only in the internal team, how does that really impact not only the logistics of everything, but just I think the overall event flow?
That's a good point. I'm thinking about like personal experiences. I used to always hire friends, essentially. People I know, people that I have a relationship with. I need something, you have a skill, come work with me. And I think it gets to a point where the reason why we do that is because you can quickly turn something around. You have a communication, you have a relationship and a dialogue and an understanding. As you grow a business and scale like what I did, relationships then change. There's layers of hierarchy, there's kind of management levels that go in it. You remove the personal from the professional, or you should try at least. So it always evolves and it moves further different forward. But in terms of how do we find people now, I guess a lot of it is recruitment agencies and people, professionals, because I don't have time to look at CVs. I post one job on LinkedIn and respectfully, I have 3,000 messages in my inbox. Like it's impossible to keep up. And then obviously you go through the kind of qualifying process, you look at them and you're understanding who, what, how. So a lot of the time now we look at recruitment agencies, and we will do moving further forward. Our business model went from having full-time employees into a significant team, like 85 at one point, into having a small core team. Then we amplify that with freelancers as and when needed. The challenge you have with that, all of the good people get booked up quite quickly, or they have the retained contract agreements with other, I say, competitors or other people in the industry. So finding good people is always a challenge. Finding the right people is also a challenge, but then how that all plays in with the culture and the complexities of the different dynamics within the business is also a significant challenge. My job is constantly recruitment, literally.
I was like, you just sound constantly challenged.
Yeah, it always changes, because I read a stat the other day that Dubai now has like 4 million inhabitants. Like there's 4 million people that live in Dubai. When I came here, it's like 1.5. There's a fresh influx of new people, and there's always that change. So I feel like you're always rebuilding relationships. You're always finding new people. You're always trying to find new opportunity. And then people obviously leave. So then you're constantly going through this cycle. It doesn't have the, I guess, maybe like the stability or the historical, I guess, like nature where people would be in one job for a long period of time in one city. It's constantly moving and constantly evolving. So we as businesses have to keep up with that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that like true to the state of Dubai? Like it's so transient. So it multiplies into every business that exists here. And I think for business owners, they probably go through that, because even holding on to the people for long term is difficult. A husband will get another job, a wife will have a baby, like there's all these different dynamics at play, but you've been successful in like building a business that need lots of people constantly, right?
Always, it's like a machine. You've got to feed it. Like it constantly needs people. Essentially, we've tried to look at automation. That's the right word. AI, for example, a big thing now. So some of our systems and processes don't necessarily need a human, but the reality is you still need a human to do all of the data entry, the inputting, the prompting, the validation and compliance of everything. So I guess the roles are changing, but the requirement for human capital is always there, and we always need people. And it's up and down, it's peaks and troughs depending on the seasonality of what happens or any given scenario within the calendar year, really, within our events industry.
And you got all the languages to deal with too, and this multicultural like dynamic that we have in Dubai, which is not one language. We got lots of things going on.
But going with that then is also then how we communicate with each other. I often get accused of being quite like a forceful, aggressive type of person. And then I'm like, I'm just from Manchester. That's how we communicate. So I spend a lot of time kind of like having to go, no, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. This is how I do it. This is just how I speak. Because you look at, the different cultures and complexities of language. You've got demographics that are very passive. You've got demographics that are very dominant. Dubai is this melting pot of so many people. And language communication is something that is so vitally important to making sure that everything's successful.
Wow. Well, there's no doubt we can go on for a while. There's so many intricacies about this industry that is just fascinating, and how to, really drive it so it can really just have this incredible emotional connection with the people for every event that you guys produce and design. I think just we're running down to those last few minutes, and I want to make sure everybody that's listening, first of all, if you got a question, you type it in to one of those chats, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify, wherever you are on the gram. If you want to talk to Dan, you better put it in the comments, because he's here to answer your questions and give you some insight based on what he's seen, done, and definitely survived in this town.
I bought the t-shirt. I've got the t-shirts for all of it.
Heck yeah. You should be distributing them. Like selling t-shirts for $9.99, from Dan Bolton, letting you know that it will be fine, right? At the end of the day, it'll be just fine.
Correct.
However, what were you going to say?
No, it's correct. I was waiting for the question. I thought there was a question brewing. So
I'm like, keep them on the edge of their seats, keep them on the edge of the seats. For everyone who's running events, who's hiring event companies, who's business owners that are thinking, hey, my team can do it, because I know a lot of people out there are thinking that they're capable internally. And if you're considering looking to the expert and really want to understand things that you need to prioritize so that you do not make the mistakes that can be made in this journey. Dan, what do you got for 3 big tips for the build strong teams for any business owner to give them professionalism and brand alignment and even like a memorable experience? Because ideally that's a major objective everyone's trying to achieve.
I guess from my personal experiences, don't try and do everything. I do try and delegate, and I try and empower people as much as possible. I think there's also then the caveat to that. There's a fine line between completely delegating but taking ownership as a leader. I think I've been guilty previously of not necessarily being that leader that I should have been. And then really leading by example and driving and being that support structure for people. In terms of other key things, it's just, you got to be open-minded. Like there's so many caveats to everything when it comes to people in this nation here, this region, this world. Everybody's going through something. There's always an external factor. Most of us are visitors to this country. People have got families to support, or they've got issues going on in their home country or something. There's so many different complexities to the political, the human capital element side of things. That as a leader and a business owner, you have to be versatile. You have to be. You have to have empathy. You have to try and figure out solutions to get the people to work together and to get people to essentially deliver what we all need to deliver as a business and come together, which is often very difficult.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I love that, because I wrote them down. And just to repeat it to everyone listening, it's about delegating, right? Being that leader that can not only own it, but definitely take responsibility and lead by example, being open-minded and understanding how important human capital is and connecting through empathy and just coming together to achieve the results you need. But that component of humanity, I think you have hit the nail on the head, is that you got to connect to humans that are working in this space.
And the one thing I will say is to any business leader is like, you're not going to get it right. The reality is you're dealing with humans. We're all making mistakes. One thing I've learned over the last couple of years is that, we have to be kind to ourselves as well. We can only do the best that we can, as long as our intentions are good, as long as we're trying to make things better, as long as we're going about it the right type of way, then we'll continue to move forward and we figure it out along the way.
Yeah, it gives you that much better confidence to sleep at night, because it's not going to be perfect every time, right?
It's never perfect. All you can do is try to make it better than what it was yesterday, essentially.
Yeah,
absolutely. Our job, solutions.
Dan Bolton, awesome conversation. I'm so grateful for you taking the time to sit with us today and just highlight Wow. I mean, this is no doubt something I love to talk about. And you have really aligned so much of your priorities to stuff that I love to talk about. So I want to thank you again. Invite everyone to reach out, connect, talk to the experts, get your event rocking for this season because it's just beginning.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Buckle up is right. I'll be giving out safety belts. This show is proudly sponsored by the Biz Angels. So if you are looking at events and you need people to drive lead generation, just outsource it. Don't do it yourself. Give it to the experts. We'll be in touch and see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful day.